Aloha. I want to thank you for joining here and being with us for this Facebook Live today. We have some very important information we're going to be covering today. So excited to share it with you and to have you join us today. So, for those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Dr. Catherine Taketa-Wong. I'm a naturopathic physician and acupuncturist, and there's a lot of important information, as I mentioned, that we will be discussing and sharing with you today. So some of the information that we're going to be talking about, we're really going to be looking at some of the things that are pertinent, and there are three major areas of our health. So the three areas that I want to cover are: one, our immune system; two, our digestive system; and three, our emotional well-being, and how all of these are really interrelated, and how right now particularly it is related to what is going on with our current situation in terms of things that interplay with our immune system. Many people right now are very well aware of things that are going on with the pandemic, and that our immune system is really front and center, that a lot of people have concerns about. Also, the pandemic has taken certainly a toll on our emotional well-being. And while all the stresses and the challenges we face during these times seem to stretch on and on with no clear end in sight, there are still many positive actions we can take to improve our physical and emotional strength and resilience. Now more than ever, it is vital to take good care of our own health and the well-beings of our families. So I'm so glad that you're joining us today. In addition to my naturopathic treatment protocols, I have some brand new and exciting technology that has only recently become available. It's a simple and enjoyable neurofeedback system that can improve many emotional and psychological conditions for both adults and children. I'll be telling you about it towards the end of the visit, so stay tuned. Three pillars form the foundation of my practice. They are: one, to heal; two, to educate; and three, to empower. Today's event is a perfect example of those pillars, as it is my intention to both educate and empower you, the viewer. Again, thank you for joining me. As I mentioned earlier, I am a naturopathic doctor. For those of you who are not familiar with naturopathic doctors, or NDs, have to attend a 4-year medical school, just like MDs. We receive, however, an extensive education in nutrition from our medical schools, 155 hours of nutrition courses compared with 19.6 hours in conventional medical schools. In addition, I'm a MAPS trained autism specialist. MAPS stands for the Medical Academy of Pediatric Special Needs. Whether I'm recommending supplements, herbs, or pharmaceuticals, I always do my best to follow the gold standard of care and make sure my patients understand the benefits, the risks, the side effects, and the alternatives. That's why my office or virtual visits are a full hour. While I always prefer to treat my patients without prescribing pharmaceuticals, there are times when they are necessary and useful. But with naturopathic medicine, there is much more, because we're taught how to use food and natural remedies to build health from the inside. My passion is to help people not only get healthy, but stay healthy. That's why I also have a master's degree in Chinese medicine and am a licensed acupuncturist. I didn't want to limit my knowledge to just one approach. I love caring for my patients and believe strongly in working with them as partners in their health and well-being. As we go along, if you have a health condition that you would like to talk with me about, please call our office and schedule a free phone consultation. There is no charge, because I don't take new patients without reviewing their situation first. We discuss your health concerns and come up with a plan that will help you the most. We also are helping COVID patients, and we are taking new patients by telemedicine or phone consults. So if you or a loved one have concerns about COVID, just know that we do have treatment options with that, and we are treating COVID patients. Now, if you'd like to talk with us, you can schedule a free phone consultation. Just call or text the office or click on the link in our post. All of the contact information is on our Facebook page. So, getting to today's topic, I want to start with our immune system because I think that's really front and center, as I mentioned earlier, with the pandemic going on. So, what is our immune system? I like to share some basics to help you understand it a little bit better and to explain some keys in terms of what are really important to keep our immune system healthy and in balance and helping us to prevent illness. The immune system is actually an interconnected biological network that includes many different parts of our body. That includes white blood cells, organs, and tissues of the lymph system, such as the thymus, the spleen, tonsils, lymph nodes, lymph vessels, and bone marrow. The most important keys to supporting your immune system require the discipline to build good habits. And right now, those habits can literally save lives. It's a common misconception that our immune system goes to war with every foreign organism. That's just not how it works. If it did, the body would soon deplete itself and wind up with a downward spiral of exhaustion and ultimately death. Instead, the job of the immune system is to take stock, monitor, assess, and judge potential threats. In fact, our immune system is able to coexist with millions of the microbes we share our bodies with. But if an invader is deemed a threat, the immune system has a specific function: destroy the threat while doing as little collateral damage as possible. This response from the immune system is what we call inflammation. Inflammation can be kind of a molecular warfare. There are killer cells and molecules that flood the zone in order to eliminate a pathogen from the body. The area of infection can look kind of like a war zone, with good soldiers rushing in to assess the problem, to attack it, to clean up the area and rebuild using new tissue. To us, inflammation can feel like a stuffy nose or a sore throat. It could also feel like stomach aches, fever, fatigue, or headaches. The symptoms of an immune response feel junk, but we have to often suffer a little to keep the rest of our body healthy over the long term. Now remember, there is no simple one pill to just boost your whole immune system. It doesn't work like that. The ongoing focus should be on making sure our immune system doesn't lose our natural balance. Our health and well-being depends on our immune system being in balance, neither underperforming or overreacting. So how do we do that? One key to a strong immune system is a simple one, and it's simple but not always easy to do. One is that your immune system needs sleep. Now, why is that? In order to make repairs to the cells all over your body, including your organs, our body needs sleep. And it's your organs, the kidneys, the liver, lungs, that have to process and eliminate toxins. And that's what I meant when I said we need to build good habits to help our immune system do its work. So remember, being healthy means working with Mother Nature, not against her. We need to adjust our lifestyles to reflect our immune system's need for sleep because too many of us just aren't getting enough. And of course, another key to immune system health and overall well-being is choosing the right foods. So that brings me to our next topic of digestion. Now, most people don't even realize that the immune system is actually connected to our digestive system and to what we're eating. Did you know that? So when I'm talking about our digestive system, I'm really looking at the process of bringing foods into our body and the process of being able to break them down and extract the nutrients from them. So some of the keys to a healthy digestive system are avoiding processed foods, sugary foods, soda, and excessive amounts of alcohol. On the other hand, prebiotic foods improve digestion. So unlike probiotics, they're easy to include in your meals and you don't have to worry about whether they were manufactured properly. Prebiotics are foods that feed the good bacteria in our gut. And prebiotic foods are basically certain types of fibers and sugars that will feed our good bacteria. You can find prebiotics in many different foods, including almonds, garlic, garbanzo beans, onions, bananas, lentils, red kidney beans, watermelons, grapefruit, oats, and more. But another key to good digestion isn't what we eat, but how we eat. So just before you start your meal, pause long enough to take a few deep breaths, or if it's part of your tradition, include a prayer. Take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in slowly through the nose and out through the mouth. It helps to settle the body so that it can produce the proper digestive enzymes. When in fight or flight mode, like when we feel angry or upset, it shuts down the production of digestive enzymes. They aren't needed because the body thinks that you're going somewhere. So the body shuts down the movement of food along the intestines. If we're running away from a tiger, we don't want our body to have to be dealing with those functions. For example, we don't have to worry about having to feel the urge to poop if we're running away from a tiger, right? And so what our body has done is, if we are in fight or flight mode, if we're feeling particularly stressed, then our body will actually shut down our digestive functions. However, if we're in a chronic stress mode, then that can make it very difficult to be able to manage some of the things with our digestion and to be able to digest our food properly. So something simple, just as simple as taking a few deep breaths, can put us into a more relaxed state called the parasympathetic mode. And in modern times, we have different kinds of stress, but it still affects us in the same way. And we don't digest our food well if that happens, if we're in a chronic fight or flight mode. Here is something else that's simple and helpful and a good habit to have. Take the time to chew well. Digestion really begins in the mouth with enzymes that are mixed with the foods to start the digestive process. If we skip that step, the rest of that process in the stomach and intestines isn't as efficient. Now, pausing before we eat will help us to remind us to slow down and chew and enjoy our meal. And again, why is digestion important? Why do I bring this up? Because there's actually been research that has found that if we have good digestive function, that is really key to our immune system. And that's one of the keys to helping to keep us healthy during these particular times during this pandemic. It's also been found, very interestingly, that we need to have the good bacteria in our gut to help to regulate our immune system. These good bacteria, what they do is that they actually talk to our immune system cells. They actually exchange chemical messages with our immune system cells. And so it's been found that many times, if people are prone to infections all the time, if they have autoimmune diseases, if they have chronic allergies or other immune system problems, very often we find that there are problems with the gut. Now, if you're having digestive system problems, there are many different things that we can do. There's many different digestive conditions that can cause disruptions in your gut, and that can in turn affect your immune system. And that in turn could actually make you more prone to getting infections. We know that some of the things that are involved in the immune system are not just having antibodies, for example, that can fight off an infection. But for example, I had a patient who had gotten the COVID vaccine, but then afterwards he was traveling and he was really sleep deprived and he hadn't been eating well while he was traveling, and he got COVID. And so it's not just one thing in terms of our immune system. It really comes down to looking at the whole picture. So having a healthy diet full of fruits and vegetables, making sure that we are really addressing a number of different things for our immune system. At our office, we have a whole protocol of herbs and nutrients and other things that we use to help support your digestive system and also your immune system. And this is really important. as just as much as getting enough sleep and eating a healthy diet. So we have a protocol in terms of working with patients. We're both to work with their immune system, making sure they have enough nutrients, making sure that you have the things in place to help support you, to help to decrease risk of getting COVID, and also if you are to get COVID, things that can be helpful. So if you have questions about these, I encourage you to call our office. And if you have a health condition that you want to talk with me about, schedule a free phone consult with our office. There's no charge because I don't take new patients, as I mentioned, without reviewing their situation first. We discuss your health concerns and come up with a plan that will help you the most. So again, to schedule a free phone consultation, just call or text our office or click on the link in the post. And all the contact information is on our Facebook page. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have digestive concerns, that like digestive system concerns that you would like to talk with me about, it's interesting because we know that stress can play into our digestive system and digestive symptoms that we may be experiencing. And so I have a number of patients that have digestive conditions that find that when they get their digestive conditions back in balance, that their immune system is better. They stop getting sick all the time. So again, if you have a digestive condition or an immune system concern that you would like to talk with me about, I encourage you to call me. Call our office so that you can schedule a free phone consultation with me, and then we can be able to talk about your concerns and see how we can help you the most. Now, getting back to the third piece that I wanted to talk about is stress, because we know that stress can definitely affect our immune system. And in our modern society, the stress can actually be misinterpreted by our body as a threat. So today we rarely face things like lions or bears or other mortal threats. But the trouble is that our body can get triggered in the same way in the face of modern threats. So for example, stressors like a marital challenge, or trouble with our boss, or inability to get our child off of their video game or whatever it is. So here are some keys to managing stress. These are a few basic kinds of things that I often tell my patients. So one, meditation or mindfulness can really, really help in terms of stress, particularly with the anxiety that's going on right now. And mindfulness can also help to support a balanced immune system, including restraining inflammation. And that is the big issue in terms of COVID, because we know that restraining the immune system or restraining the inflammation is a really big key, particularly because if there is too much inflammation that's going on in our body during a COVID infection, that is something that can in turn make you more prone to getting more severe manifestations of COVID. And so helping to decrease the inflammation is really, really key, making sure that the inflammation is not too much, that it's not excessive. Exercise is a great way to help manage stress and really focusing, and exercise has definitely been found to be helpful in terms of supporting our immune system as well. And also things like schedule. So schedule time for yourself, schedule a break. I know that there are times when I take time off from work. Also delegating, working with a spouse or partner. So those are all some really basic keys in terms of stress management. So many of my patients aren't familiar with meditation, and many of us tend to be uncomfortable with new things, at least at first. So one thing that many patients have found that works for them is just to start by paying attention to their breathing for a few minutes throughout the day. So while you're washing dishes, you can, for example, be taking slow, long breaths through your nose and then slowly breathing them out through your mouth. There also are some free meditation classes online. There are guided meditations that you could listen to online as well, where they take you through some of the basics and help to guide you through some things that you can do to help with your stress level. And this is something that is really important, again, in terms of your immune system. Because as I mentioned, I've had patients where they're doing pretty well, and then all of a sudden they have a major stressor, and then they start getting sick. And so these are some things that are, again, really basic but really important. Now, some of the things that I want to mention, particularly in these times, are things like supplements and herbs. And I wanted to mention some of these things that are very important. So vitamin D is a nutrient that is very important for helping to support and also balance our immune system. Vitamin D is also important for helping to keep our immune system from overreacting, from having too much inflammation. So that's an important nutrient. The natural way you get vitamin D is from the sun. So trying to get reasonable levels of sun exposure, again, while avoiding sunburn. Or even if your skin starts to get pink, that's often a sign that the skin has been damaged. So that's the gauge that I give patients is, I tell them if you can go out in the sun and if you can tan but not get red or pink, then that's fine. But if you do get pink, then you may need to have sun exposure off hours, not during really peak hours like during the middle of the day, but maybe earlier in the morning or closer to the later afternoon. And studies have found that vitamin D can be helpful in terms of reducing the incidence of colds and pneumonia. And so those are the things that are important. Zinc is also very important because zinc has been found to interfere with the entry of a variety of respiratory viruses into our body cells. And so zinc is also important for our immune system function. Vitamin C is a nutrient that is important for helping to decrease inflammation. Vitamin C is an antioxidant, so it helps to decrease inflammation when there are times that there's too much inflammation. There are other nutrients, something called NAC or N-acetylcysteine and glutathione. Those are antioxidants that support our liver detoxification and help to get toxins out of our body. And they also decrease inflammation. So those are also very important nutrients that I often will recommend to many of my patients. Reishi is a mushroom that helps to support and regulate the immune system. There are also other mushrooms that have been found to be helpful. And there are also Chinese herbs which have been studied and found to be helpful in the context of respiratory viral illnesses. And so there's quite a bit of research on Chinese herbal formulas in the context of colds or flu or other respiratory viral illnesses. Now, if you're not familiar with supplements and some of these things, I suggest going to our website, which is drtaketa-wong.com, and clicking on the store button. It's important to understand that supplements are not regulated by the FDA, but we do have independent third-party testing to make sure that what the label says it has is actually what's in the container and that the ingredients are clean and safe. So that's drtaketa-wong.com, and you can find the link on our Facebook page. And finally, for that exciting news that I mentioned at the beginning, we recently introduced some cutting-edge technology into our practice. It's called Neuroptimal, which is the latest in neurofeedback methods. Certain types of brainwave patterns are present when one is having difficulty with focus and attention, or if you're feeling anxious, or if you're having difficulty sleeping, or if you feel like you're just really having a hard time just thinking clearly. I have patients who tell me I just feel like I have brain fog, like I just feel like my brain's not really working right. And particularly, many practitioners or doctors have seen an increased incidence of things like difficulty sleeping, anxiety, with what's going on in the world now. And so if you're dealing with some of those things, Neuroptimal is a neurofeedback technology that could, be very helpful for you. And I've definitely found it helpful for a number of my patients. The Neuroptimal technology is something that is essentially trying to help train our brain to improve focus, attention, and help to decrease things like difficulty sleeping or anxiety or insomnia. And what it does is it helps the brain to recognize whether its brainwave patterns are in balance or if they are imbalanced, and then helping to bring them into equilibrium. The Neuroptimal technology is actually easy and enjoyable to use. The parents whose children are using the technology have reported that they often find their focus and ability to follow instructions are better. And whereas before they had a hard time sitting still, they are now calmer and able to sit still for the whole session. The children often seem to enjoy the Neuroptimal session. And I've seen patients with anxiety or difficulty sleeping where that has improved. Even when in cases where they have tried other supplements or other kinds of things and they're still having difficulty with sleep, this is something that if you haven't tried this, that could definitely be something to look into. Now, we offer Neuroptimal to our patients, but the good news is that you don't have to be a patient to take advantage of the Neuroptimal technology. Feel free to call or text our office to schedule a free phone consultation to talk with me both about medical treatment as well as Neuroptimal if you're interested. Again, there's no charge because I don't take patients or Neuroptimal clients without talking to them first. I always want to make sure that what I do fits their needs, and you'll find all of the contact information on our Facebook page, and you can also click on the link in the post. So I trust our discussion has been helpful to you in terms of taking care of three major areas of our health: our immune system, digestive system, and emotional well-being. To wrap up our event, I want to emphasize that my patients and I are in a partnership for health. So my protocols and guidance added to their commitment to improving their lives enables them to feel empowered with their health. That means they learn how to heal their condition, how to feel happier and more energetic. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being with us here, and we look forward to seeing you again at our next Facebook Live event. Aloha.